Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menyaksikan Niaga AWANI yang bersiaran langsung bagi sidang kemuncak KL20 di Pusat Konvensyen Kuala Lumpur. Dan sebentar saja lagi rakan tugas Haris Ashraf akan menyertai kami di segmen ini, termasuk juga dengan beberapa kru AWANI yang sudah berada di sini sejak 8 pagi lagi, iaitu forum KL20 ini akan berlangsung secara rasmi pada jam 10 pagi, tetapi kami bersiaran awal sedikit untuk bawakan anda bagaimanakah persediaan di Pusat Konvensyen Kuala Lumpur untuk kita lihat beberapa jam sahaja lagi akan bermula secara rasmi, iaitu acara KL20. Bercakap mengenai acara ini, iaitu Malaysia berhasrat untuk menjadi antara 20 negara terbaik dalam syarikat pemula menjelang 2030 dan meletakkan Kuala Lumpur sebagai hub pemula serta digital serantau. Dan apa yang telah dikatakan oleh Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim sendiri sehubungan itu sidang kemuncak KL20 yang bakal berlangsung selama 2 hari bermula hari ini sehinggalah 23 April 2024, iaitu akan menjadi forum yang memudah cara untuk syarikat pemula dalam pelaburan yang bernilai tinggi. Serta itu kami juga akan bawakan tetamu untuk bersama kami di Pusat Konvensyen Kuala Lumpur untuk kita lihat dan berbincang mengenai ekosistem syarikat pemula digital. Bagaimanakah inisiatif KL20 ini mampu melonjakkan lagi, iaitu ekosistem syarikat pemula dan juga digital, meliputi daripada aspek iaitu bakat, pembiayaan, pengasas, dan ini adalah antara tiga komponen yang terpenting di mana yang Perdana Menteri juga Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim dijangka untuk melancarkan surat tindakan KL20 ini yang memberi tumpuan, yang memberi pendekatan bagaimana untuk melonjakkan lagi ekosistem syarikat pemula dan juga teknologi dan digital di rantau ini, meliputi daripada aspek pembiayaan iaitu pengasas dan juga bakat. Dan saya akan mempersilakan untuk tetamu kita akan serta kami untuk membincangkan lagi bagaimanakah acara ini akan memberi impak yang signifikan kepada Malaysia daripada segi iaitu syarikat pemula, pemain industri dan juga pelaburan. Dan saya izinkan saya berbahasa Inggeris untuk kita lihat bagaimanakah pentingnya dasar-dasar kerajaan mengambil kira perspektif dan strategi jangka panjang yang dikongsi oleh wakil-wakil syarikat modal teroka dan pelabur yang juga akan turut hadir di sini untuk meneliti dan mengikuti sepanjang forum ini yang akan diadakan daripada pagi sehinggalah petang. Perdana Menteri juga berkata forum ini juga akan menggalakkan syarikat pemula berkembang keluar negara dengan memanfaatkan rantaian ekosistem global yang kita boleh cakap lebih lengkap dan komprehensif. Anwar juga berkata kerajaan Madani sentiasa komited dalam membentuk ekosistem pemula yang dinamik agar dapat mempromosikan, meletakkan Malaysia sebagai hub utama dalam keusahawanan dan juga inovasi. Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim juga akan merasmikan persidangan itu hari ini yang berlangsung di Pusat Konvensyen Kuala Lumpur, dan Niaga AWANI dan Bulutin AWANI seterusnya akan terus membawakan perkembangan seterusnya mengenai acara ini. Dan izinkan saya berbahasa Inggeris untuk kita mempersilakan tetamu kita di sini. Alright, I'm going to welcome you, Aaron Sarma, the co-founder and general partner ScaleUp Malaysia. I want to say thank you very much, Aaron, for joining me this morning. And then we have a few more hours before the event will start officially, and we're going to wait a few attendants from the ministry as well, from the finance, economics, and even Gobinsio, the digital. Aaron, talking about the KL20 summit, this is organized as the first and the biggest event in Malaysia. And considering the KL20 summit goal is to elevate Kuala Lumpur into the top 20 global startups hubs by 2030 in probably another 6 years. And maybe you can share with us what are some of the innovative approach should Malaysian startups adapt to differentiate themselves from the crowded global market.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Good morning, thank you.
It's great to be here with you at the KL20 event. It's quite an interesting start to the session. We are seeing many people come in as we are meeting people as they walk in. This is a good opportunity for Malaysian founders to kind of find a path into the region, because we feel that a lot of entrepreneurs in Malaysia need to find opportunities to grow their business, not just in Malaysia, but to build a regional company. And part of the challenge around doing that is around finding great opportunities and to build great businesses. So I think the first things Malaysian founders need to focus on is not the rah-rah, raising funds, is not about other things beyond that, but rather it's about finding opportunities to build great businesses. But then after that, they need to be able to sell themselves, pitch themselves, promote themselves to a wider audience, and not to be just focused on the Malaysian market, but to see Southeast Asia as a melting pot of opportunity for them to capitalize on the fact that we in Malaysia can build great businesses that can go regional. And we've seen that already with some really good companies out of Malaysia, and we just need to replicate that success with more companies.
Right, it's not just about building opportunities for businesses, but also about how can we sell it from across the global. And in what ways can the KL20 Actions Paper Reform facilitate a more inclusive and diverse startup ecosystem in Malaysia, ensuring equitable opportunities for all entrepreneurs?
I think with every startup ecosystem, a couple of things are really important. Number one is access to talent, right? Good people who can, first of all, create these ideas, right? You need to have an opportunity for a melting pot of crazy entrepreneurs with crazy ideas who are willing to take the dive into entrepreneurship for the first time. And so we need to create that environment where people feel ready to take that plunge, and that's where the government can come in, providing incentives and opportunities to start new businesses. The other thing is talent for building things. So we need capabilities, right? People who know how to build software, who now understand AI, because that's a big part of a lot of software these days, understand how to commercialize products, understand regional businesses. So it's both about let's incentivize the founder, incentivize also the people working with the founder to build the business. But on top of that, there needs to be access to capital, because you can't build a big business on just a dream or a few guys in a garage or around the mamak stall. You've got to have the ability to scale that business. And so part of this event, what I'm looking for is how do you, obviously provide incentives to attract talent to build startups, but also how do you create enough capital to kind of help these businesses grow, scale, and go beyond where we are in Malaysia.
And definitely the theme of what you just said, crazy. We need to be able to, crazy enough to go out there to share our ideas and build our capability especially. And considering, and how can we say with the Malaysian unique culture, we want to see how can Malaysia leverage on the unique culture and geographical advantages to position itself as a distinctive hub for specific industry or even technologies within the global startup landscape.
So I think we attract this from 2 points, right? Number one, I think we need to remember Malaysia is a multicultural society. We have many different cultures living here, working here. So not just the Malays, Indians, and Chinese, and the other people who live here, but also the migrant workers who come here, the expats that work here. It's a great place to start a multicultural business, and we are unique in that sense in Southeast Asia because we can do that. We also have affordable wages and low cost of doing business. That makes it really easy to start a company here, and these are advantages that we already have intrinsic in Malaysia. But then we also have some industries that I think we can leverage on, right? For example, agriculture is something I've always been big on, very, very big opportunity there. Halal tech is something that I think we should look into because we are a Muslim majority country. As such, I think there's an opportunity for us to build great products there. And now in clean energy, we're seeing lots of interest in Malaysia for clean energy solutions. Petronas itself through Gentari, who full disclosure I am working with, has opportunity there to build amazing startups around clean energy as well. So I think we've got certain distinct opportunities in Malaysia that we can take advantage of to grow a regional business. I'm always reminded that we're having this event at KL Towers, right? And one of the reasons we have KL Towers is to remind Malaysians that we can do amazing things.
True.
And for many, many years, these towers have been a reminder of what we can achieve as Malaysians. And I think we need to remember that these towers are not just for us to look at when we come to KLCC, but it's for us to remember that Malaysians can go places. And I think that's important for Malaysia. Use the advantage we have to go regional and take on the world.
And from what Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy, also mentioned about the investment, they heavily want to focus on this few sectors that he mentioned, at E&E, the semiconductor, as you mentioned just now, the new energy transition. So definitely this is one of the key components that government are focusing on how to propel the startup ecosystem. And we want to see what role can public-private partnership play in amplifying the impact of the KL20 some initiatives on Malaysia's startup ecosystem, particularly in terms of, we can see, infrastructure development and even the policy reform.
So I think you're right. Like, it cannot just be governments and startups working together. There needs to be also the private sector, because great businesses are not just built from the guy in the mamak stall building a billion-dollar company. Sometimes startups need to work with corporates and need to be able to kind of integrate their solutions with other existing large businesses. And my entrepreneurial story is very much like that. I built a business that we managed to sell to AirAsia because we were in the travel space. And I believe a lot of companies and startups need to look into that opportunity as well. So corporates need to say, these are solutions we're looking for. These are what I think the government can do to get these companies on board and really to kind of create the environment for startups to onboard into corporates. And the government should respond in kind by giving incentives to work with startups, be it through tax deductions or other kinds of benefits for doing so. I met with a government from another country who said, hey, we've got a policy that if you do a POC with one of our big companies in this country, we give the POC for free. We'll give a grant just to do the POC in our country. And so maybe these are things that we can do as Malaysians to really take advantage of our unique environment, of the low cost of doing business, as well as bringing talent into the market for building businesses.
How can we make it more attractive and even we can say sexy for the investment to come?
Yeah.
Especially and with the increasing importance of sustainability and social impact on global business practices, how can the KL20 summit strategy encourage Malaysia startups to prioritize the values in their growth strategies?
So I hope this summit is a good starting point for startup founders. I'm hoping to meet many founders here today who want to have regional businesses, and I hope this gives them the hope that they can be successful. I think part of the challenge and the issue with Malaysian startups over the years has been they've been unable to scale regionally, so they become very local businesses, almost becoming SMEs. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can build great profitable businesses as SMEs. But if we want to really create those success stories, those unicorn companies, then we need to be able to dream big and really pursue lofty ambitions. And I think that's something I hope that this Startup Summit can encourage Malaysians to do that, because there is a pathway now. The government has given policies in place, corporates are in place to support you, the venture capital community is there with capital to give you, and there's training education to support the entire endeavor. I think if they see that this is a viable opportunity for them, this will be a success for KL Startup Summit.
All right, the people are in place, as you mentioned, the ideas are in place. We're just waiting for execution.
Exactly.
And how can the KL20 address the challenges faced by Malaysian startup in scaling internationally? That is one big question, particularly in terms of regulatory compliance. We know that they have their own policy. We have to also adapt, and also about the cultural adaptation and the market penetration.
I think KL20 has an opportunity to provide policy clarity when we go to other markets, right? And for the longest time, if I was a startup founder in Malaysia, I had so many agencies and government bodies I had to talk to. I almost spent more time as in my founder life speaking to agency to get things done versus actually running the startup, right? So I think one thing that the KL20 can provide is a single window to access all these policies and opportunities. And then once they provide the window, to provide a pathway into other markets. And conversations should happen that go like this. Hey, you want to enter Indonesia? Here's who we know in Indonesia. Here's who you should talk to. Here's your first stop, and let me organize that relationship for you. Here's you want to launch in Thailand or Philippines or Vietnam. We should be building those bridges to ASEAN. I think if there's something that KL20 can do is to present Malaysia as the launch pad of ASEAN startups. And I think if we do that, that's a huge opportunity for KL20.
And then we also have to consider about the competition, definitely. And considering the competitive nature of the global startup landscape, what critical skills and capabilities should Malaysian entrepreneurs and startup develop to succeed and contribute significantly to KL's ranking among the top global startup hub by, we can say, in 6 years?
I think one thing I would say to average Malaysian founders that maybe we not say enough, right? I think Malaysian founders need to know what's in the market and what's in the region. Many a time, a lot of Malaysian founders are very much focused on what's in Malaysia. And that gives them a bit of a blind spot. It makes it difficult for them to go to another country and say, hey, I've got a great solution. Because when they enter the new market, they need to say, hey, I've got a solution that's competitive with what's in the new market. So I think one thing the Malaysians can do is let's see what's out there, what other people are doing, have that kind of regional view or global view, in fact, of what the market is really like for their particular industry. Another thing I think Malaysian startups need to kind of have is a sense of grit. like the ability to go through very, very difficult moments. Every startup story you've ever read has had life and death experiences. And I know in my journey, I've had many of those, right? And I think everybody will go through these life and death experiences as they build their startups, as they build their opportunity within building their story. So I think it's really important. And I think the other thing that Malaysians need to do more of is to dream big and to dream larger and to believe that they can do more than just what they're doing right now. Sometimes we say, it's okay lah, I'll just build a Malaysian company first and then we'll see what happens. I will see what happens doesn't create large businesses. People with vision create large businesses. And so Malaysian entrepreneurs need to have that vision to go out there and build those large companies.
And we hope with this two-day event, Forum of KL20 would bring a clear and more transparent and aggressive picture to the plan and execution for all startups and the whole ecosystem of Malaysia. And again, I want to say thank you very much, Aaron Sarma, the co-founder and general partner, ScaleUp Malaysia. Hope to see you again. You will be very busy, and maybe I'm going to release you, and hope to see you inside the forum.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'll be sharing more updates on KL20, where we are live from Convention Centre Kuala Lumpur with one more guest, and we'll be right back.